An extremely disappointing result for the Mariners in round 2 of the A-League women's season. And I mean, it hurts, especially coming off that incredible round 1 result and performance, 3-0 win. It felt like this season, with a lot of uncertainty, with a new head coach, with a new group of players coming in, that round 1 win was, really promising signs for this campaign. And I think we're really feeling optimistic after that great start to this season. But to head to, the reigning premiers, we should, of course, say Melbourne City here, but to lose in this way and to not really create many real clear-cut chances here in this game is certainly disappointing. And there just goes to show that there is still a lot of work to do for this side. There were some promising moments here and there that we will talk about in today's video, but overall, it is sort of a little bit of a reality check, I think, for the Mariners after that great result in round 1, a 4-0 win for Melbourne City. Of course, this was a big game, this A-League Women's round, with the reigning premiers coming up against the reigning champions. And of course, this was a rematch of that dramatic semi-final tie from last season, where Mariners did overcome Melbourne City in controversial circumstances. Even as a Mariners fan, we can acknowledge that it was controversial, that win in the semi-finals for the Mariners. But heading into this game, we knew it was going to be a tough test. Obviously, Melbourne City is still a high-quality team with a lot of players who were there from last season. So we were expecting a tough match, but I think I was maybe just a little disappointed in the fact that we weren't able to sort of work our way back into the game, despite trailing 2-0 at the break there. Weren't able to really make a strong response in that second period and come back into the game, which was maybe a little bit worrying for Corey Babington's team. Let's talk about the lineup that we did see for this game. Just the one change to the starting 11 that played in round 1. Lorena Baumann coming in for her Mariners debut in replace of Cannon Clough. The big team news as well is that Izzy Gomez was not in the matchday squad at all. No communication officially from Central Coast Mariners, unfortunately, in regards to what's happening with Izzy Gomez, one of the top midfielders in this competition, Matilda's midfielder. And obviously she made a great impact coming off the bench in round 1. She was not included in the squad at all. So we'll see if any news comes out regarding Gomez in the coming days, but it is a big concern. Hopefully it's nothing too serious if there is an injury there for Izzy Gomez. But aside from that, look, a solid lineup overall. And I think considering that it was almost the exact same starting 11 as last week, I was like, okay, maybe we are capable of getting a result in this game. I did want to highlight a few key players who I thought were impressive in this game or showed some promising signs. I thought Isabella Coco de Scipio was probably Mariners' most promising player in attack. She had some nice moments going forward. Avani Prakash just trying to create things in that first half. I thought overall Mariners were probably a little bit more threatening in that first half. That's not saying much, though. We really didn't have that many shots in this game. But Prakash was trying to create things. Even at the back, I thought Barwick Gray was solid once again. And Sarah Langman with a couple really, really top saves. And just going forward, I think the thing that hurt us is our pass accuracy maybe breaking into the final third. There were many times where the passes were going astray. And of course, the weather was a big factor. I mean, there's a lot of talk online in regards to the fact that it was very, very cold down there in Melbourne yesterday, and the wind and the rain. But of course, it's the same conditions for both teams. So we can't necessarily use that as an excuse. But that was the disappointing thing. So many times it looks like we're going to break forward and an exciting attacking move sort of brewing, and then it sort of just fell apart with a wayward pass or just a loose touch. And hopefully we can sort of work on that part of our game, going forward, so we can look a bit more threatening. I mean, it was a real sort of stark comparison, to be honest, compared to round 1, where we saw, Prakash trim us into Coco de Scipio, breaking forward, breaking into those wide positions, and we were really sort of clinical going forward, really direct at times, Central Coast Mariners. But in this game, we didn't look that threatening at all going forward. De Santos was very quiet, just not her fault. We're just unable to get her in the game as well. So despite the effort, I think, was there from this Mariners side, we did really try hard. But of course, we're coming up against the Melbourne City side, who just in about every position on the park have quality players, who have some Matilda's experience as well. So they're a high quality team here, Melbourne City. I did also want to highlight my 3-2-1 votes as well. As I mentioned earlier, Coco de Scipio. I thought, look, again, it's not a game where the Mariners players were necessarily at their best, but I thought Coco DeCipio did look promising, starting her second consecutive game here for the Mariners. Sarah Langman, look, despite conceding 4 goals, I mean, I don't know if you could necessarily say that any of the goals were her fault, but she made some crucial saves. The scoreline could have been a lot worse for the Mariners if it wasn't for Sarah Langman. She's come up with some crucial saves here once again, and I think it's worth recognising her. And I thought Elizabeth Barwick-Gray was solid once again. I talked about her last week, and after that round 1 performance, I thought she was exceptional, and she's really good at reading the ball. You see her come in and make some clearances, make some blocks and tackles in crucial moments. So she's been very, very impressive in defence. Taryn King, her centre-back partner, coming off at half-time. So we'll see what happens there. Whether there's maybe, I don't know, an injury concern. You're just a little bit worried seeing your captain go off there just after one half of football. But it's just speculation. We'll see what happens there with Taryn King. But those were my 3-2-1 votes overall for Mariners. Again, not a day to necessarily acknowledge or at least celebrate the Mariners' performances, because it was a disappointing result in the end. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward with this starting 11. Corey Babington, does he make any tweaks for next week? Because we know I've got another really tough game against Melbourne Victory. I mean, it's a real test, these early games for the Mariners, the 2 away games to those 2 Melbourne teams, 2 of the best teams in the competition, man. So it is a huge test for this team. And look, I don't mind facing these teams early on in the season, while sort of all the teams are still sort of finding their feet in the early rounds of this campaign. But for Melbourne Victory, maybe we could see a couple of changes. Hopefully Izzy Gomez is able to return if she's fit. I think she has to come in and start. I think we probably missed her a little bit in this game. Her quality and her work rate in midfield. She's a fantastic player, as we know. Tiana Fuller, I mean, wonder whether maybe she could play a bigger role against Melbourne Victory on the weekend as well. We know she provides something different in wide areas as well going forward. So maybe some selection conundrums there for head coach Corey Babington. And next week against Melbourne Victory, even if we can get a draw from that game, I think we'll take that. But hey, an interesting start to this season. A 3-0 win against Adelaide, really promising signs, and a 4-0 loss against Melbourne City, who we expect to be one of the top teams in the competition. So, look, maybe it was just an off day in the end for the Mariners. Hopefully we can bounce back, and that's the key thing. I think we really do have to respond next week against Melbourne Victory. Even if we can show up and put in a solid performance, even if we can get at least a point, I think that would be all right for the Central Coast Mariners. But there's our round 2 review. Drop your thoughts in the comments section. What did you make of this game? And what are your feelings heading into next week's match against Melbourne Victory? Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Stay subscribed for more Mariners content. My name's Lockie, and I'll see you in the next one.